Hi everybody, you're welcome. Today we're going to speak on a topic I don't think we've specifically covered before, which is modern warfare. I suppose we could begin with that. Every missile, drone, radar system, fighter jet, nuclear submarine relies on something most people never think about. Not fuel, not software, metals. metals, metals. Very specific metals that make modern defense technology possible. I'm Louis O'Connor from Strategic Metals Invest. So, recent geopolitical tensions, including the escalation between the United States, Israel, and Iran, have once again reminded markets how quickly global security dynamics can change. Now, when that happens, most attention goes to oil prices, military strategy, or even defense stocks. But there is another layer to modern conflict that often gets overlooked, and that's the materials that make advanced defense technology possible. So, modern defense systems are incredibly sophisticated pieces of engineering. But every drone, every missile guidance system, every radar installation or jet engine ultimately depends on specialized metals, specialized raw materials. For example, rare earth elements are used in powerful magnets that drive motors and control systems in drones and precision technologies. Gallium and germanium are important in radar systems, communications equipment, and infrared optics used in surveillance and targeting. Metals like rhenium and hafnium are used in high temperature alloys that allow jet engines and turbine systems to operate under extreme conditions. And this is kind of where things become really interesting, which is most of these raw materials are produced in relatively small quantities. And some are only produced as byproducts of other mining processes. So in many cases that the global supply chain is also sort of highly concentrated geographically. That means increasing supply is not something that can happen overnight. So when governments think about defense readiness, they're not only thinking about equipment or budgets, they're also thinking about supply security, making sure the materials needed to manufacture critical technologies remain available. I mean, for example, just since this Iran, Israel, US escalation occurred, I read just, I think the other day, something like $5.9 billion has already been spent on munitions and warfare. So over the past few years, strategic metals have moved from being a niche industrial topic to becoming an increasingly important geopolitical issue. So while headlines may focus on military hardware or defense spending, it's important to remember that every advanced technology ultimately starts with materials. Modern defense capability is not just about engineering, it's also about supply chains. And increasingly, these supply chains depend on a relatively small group of specialized metals. In other words, modern warfare runs on metals. If you'd like to learn more about the role strategic metals play in modern technology and global supply chains, we've published a detailed article on this topic. You'll find the link below this video. You'll find it in the link below this video. And if you're interested in understanding how these metals can also be owned as physical assets, feel free to explore the resources on our website. Thanks for watching.